Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. If you are in the room, definitely make sure you let me know you are here. Hopefully everybody is doing well. And having a good day. So happy Tuesday. Let me go ahead and start by shouting out my Patreons. If you are a member of my Patron, thank you. Thank you so much for your support. A special thanks to my VIP patrons, Michael Ray and Ray Ray. Thank y'all for supporting that content. And then, I'm trying to do, just get out more and do a little, diversify my content a little bit. So that definitely helps with that and some of the goals that I have in mind for my channel. Y'all know I recently went to Richmond, Virginia, and was able to give y'all a different perspective on a local Black Lives Matter chapter. And so, y'all helped us help with that a lot. So if you are not a member of my Patreon and would like to become a member, you can click that link below in the comment section. And then Helena is also dropping that in the chat. So, hey, Helena J. Hey, Kingpin. Hey, Black Introvert. Hey, Ronnie. All right, y'all. So, as y'all know, 2020 has been, I'm talking about crazy. So much so that I think I read the other day that there is actually like some type of asteroid heading towards Earth. And I don't think anybody cared. People just kind of moved on with their life. So, hey, Rhaegar. So that's kind of where we are with that. So things getting real, a little weird out here. But all right, y'all. So my teas are now actually on Shopify. All right. So if you have not gotten your Entertainers Are Not Leaders tea, make sure you go ahead and do that. Okay. Now that I am doing them on Shopify, I am able to actually do them at a little bit of a lower cost. The quality is better. And so, yeah, I can get those right to you. And then also I have my new tea here, which is the anti-status tea. And so you can also purchase one of those as well. It says an advocate of freedom, skeptic of government, anti-bootlicker, because that is what we are, and that is what we aspire to be over here. All right. So that link is also below in my in the description box, and Helena J will also be dropping that link in the chat if you would like to get either of those teas. All right. Also, don't forget, I will be at the Solutionary Summit. Y'all, I'm starting to feel like I'm in church now. Y'all know how y'all be in church and they be like, all right, let's get these announcements out the way first before we bring you the good word, okay? That's why I'm at with it tonight, all right? But anyway, y'all, so yeah. Also, do not forget, I will be at the Solutionary Summit on September the 12th. All right. I will be there with a lot of interesting and amazing people that are going to come out from across all the country to bring these different perspectives and try to meet at some solutions. And so that is going to be in Atlanta. That link is also in the description box as well. Particularly if you are in Atlanta, you should absolutely 100% come out to that event. You're going to have people like Angela Stanton, Judge Joe Brown, Derrick Grace, Van Lathan, Sonny Johnson. Just a lot of events. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right into tonight. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, thank y'all for joining me this Tuesday. Last week we talked a little bit about the DNC. That's kind of where we left off. I was hoping to do more content, which things have been super busy lately, so I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down and do. And I was saying I was interested in watching Kamala Harris's speech. And for some reason, when I watched her speech, it was way more, for some reason to me, her speech was way more palatable than her interviews. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it was because it was written on a teleprompter right in front of her. So it's like, I already know what I'm going to say. I don't know if it's because nobody's addressing you about specific policy. So you just saying what's on a piece of paper. So I'm not really looking for more or what. But actually because I'd only seen her in like interview mode and like hearings where they be like questioning people and stuff like that. So her energy, I don't know, just seemed a lot different. So it was actually, I think better than I originally wanted to give her credit for. I actually think it was more interesting and better than Michelle Obama's speech. And yeah, and she basically just talked about herself, how she grew up, some of the things she did. I'm still trying to figure out how an Indian woman raised a strong Black woman, but hey, whatever floats your boat. So some of that had been the things that have been being talked about in the social sphere. She addressed those things, right? She might not have done them in a way we thought were favorable, but however, she did address those things, like, the whole Indian and Black, and then her record and some of the things she's tried to do going forward and things like that. And then Joe Biden, I don't particularly remember anything about his speech. One of the main things I noticed is that he didn't fall asleep during his speech, which seems to be all we can ask for these days. I don't even know. But yeah, so those are just some of the takeaways that I can actually remember from last week. And then moving on to the RNC that started last night and is going through tonight and is going to go on until tomorrow. Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that the GOP convention, okay, the ratings were down. The ratings were down compared to the Democratic convention, and the ratings were down compared to the convention in 2016. So let's take a look at this article. According to The Hill, and then we're going to talk about some of the reasons, particularly why I think that was, and some of my thoughts about the RNC last night. So this is according to thehill.com. GOP convention's first night draws fewer TV viewers than Democratic. Y'all know they be trying to sabotage a girl in these here YouTube streets. All right, but let's see. All right, so GOP convention's first night draws fewer TV viewers than Democratic kickoff. The Republican National Convention averaged 15.9 million viewers on its opening night, falling short of the 18.7 million who tuned in for the beginning of last week's Democratic convention, according to Nielsen Media Research figures released Tuesday. TV viewership on Monday was down 28%. 28%. That's like a lot. 28% from the first night of the 2016 GOP convention. The same decline from 4 years ago for Democrats. Fox News led all networks on Monday with 6.07 million viewers in the 10 p.m. EDT hour, when former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley and 1.978 million. Fox alone beat out combined viewers from CNN, NBC, CBS, and ABC. The figures released by Nielsen do not include live stream data. C-SPAN's live stream of the first night of the GOP convention attracted nearly 440,000 views, as a substantial increase over the 76,000 views for the start of the Democratic convention. The second night, which is tonight, you got Mike Pompeo, Melania Trump, and Eric Trump. All right, so first of all, I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the RNC. I fell asleep. It just was, I mean, one thing you can say, whatever you want to say about Democrats, they are thoroughly, right, when it comes to a national platform, they are thoroughly entertaining. Whether you're laughing at them or laughing with them, okay? They have been proven to be thoroughly entertaining. Not only that, they have the marketing game on lock. Now, some people might say that marketing may be pandering. I've said that, okay, probably 1,000 times. However, I do think that there is a way to, so something I've always said about Republicans, and I'm going to go into this talking about even having the McCloskeys at the convention. So if you guys remember, all right, the McCloskeys were the couple that were and see, y'all be missing so many plays, and I could really just give people the game, but I don't think they want it, because like at some point it's like, okay, is this who you like? Are you continuously failing, or are you committed to having this platform, right? So let me go back to what I was saying. I just wanted to preface that. All right, bam, you got the McCloskeys, right? So the McCloskeys were this couple that were in this suburban neighborhood, and you have the Black Lives protesters walking through that are literally walking to, if I remember correctly, the mayor's home, okay? They are heading to address the mayor. You come out on your lawn, you so fearful of your life, so fearful. Oh my God, so freaking fearful. You don't hide under the bed. You come in your front lawn to protect yourself. How much protecting are you doing with inoperable firearms? It makes no sense. Why people don't want to admit that makes no sense. You're scared, you fear for your life, but you want to protect yourself with firearms that don't even work. Okay, so in the event that they actually agitated protesters to an extent where it was force on force, they would have been outnumbered. So it was just a dumb move. The more you find out about it, the dumber it becomes. All right, so they invite the McCloskeys because, oh, what they stand for, these are normal people representing the 2A. You saw the way the narrative that the media created around these people. So instead of picking a better marketing strategy, right, you move on to have those exact people on. Like, that makes no sense to me. So at some point, I just don't fall for it's just the media. The media twists everything. Like no, at some point, if you actually want to be smarter and want to maneuver things, it's actually very easy. But when you continuously give people bait, I can't. It is what it is. All right. So a good example I used, and I was on Hank Strange show. This was last week, and we talked about this. I said that, first of all, to my understanding, these people aren't even like 2A people, right? Because they've been in some type of litigation with like actual gun companies because they're lawyers or whatever. So not only that, but I literally talked about, even right now, you literally could have killed two birds with one stone, right? Because you have people in these Black Lives Matter protests that are standing in front of these stores, right? Protecting property, actually protecting inner cities to show that you actually care about the inner cities, not pointing or agitating people walking by, but saying, yeah, like, we're here, we're holstered, we're ready, we're protecting our property, and we actually care about this area, we care about this neighborhood, we've invested in you. All these things wrapped up, right? I don't know if y'all remember, but this was like when the riots first happened. You literally had this black guy and this white guy, and actually it was a couple of them that were like arm in arm, right? Arm in arm, they came out there together to protect, right, those areas, property, make sure that people that were out there were actually protesting in good faith were good. The media can't spin that. The media can't spin it. We saw the pictures. We saw the pictures with our own eyes. We saw what they represented, not only to a people. And this is why when people, like, I can't feel sorry. It's this idea, right, that it's going to, that the Second Amendment kind of needs to be diversified, because the only way to not lose those rights is to have people, particularly people in minorities communities, understand what it means to them. What it means to them, what it means for them, what it means for this country, what it means for protecting themselves, and things like that. But if you continue to allow this to be represented in that way, how can you turn around and be mad because some people feel some type of way? All I'm saying is pick a position and stay there. Keep that same energy. People are going to take things how they see them. Okay, we've seen this time and time again. The media is a very strong force. And so if on no hand you are working to take back those narratives, use some of the same, we've seen the freaking winning strategies. We've seen what people do that have that move people, have effect on them, and things like this. You can still do those things from a upright, honest position. Why some people don't believe that, I don't know. It's odd. I've done that. And so, so I don't know. I just think that was just a misstep. And even me, not like just me from a 2A perspective, and I've told y'all my story, and you should have, saw this on Instagram, because I posted this video talking about, like, every time me seeing that and how the 2A was narrated and how I wasn't represented in it. And so people can, keep playing and thinking the media is not a very strong force, but these people have spent years and years and years of learning how to propagandize certain things. And so if you aren't actually in real time coming up with ways to combat that, to maneuver that, you get what you're getting. And so I don't know. But other than that, I thought that was a misstep. I saw their speech and they were very kind of like, oh no, it was weird. That kind of was giving me like, I don't know, like Stepford energy, just very kind of robotic. You had Trump in the room talking to different people. I think, if I remember correctly, people that were working, like nurses. I know a custodian was in there, maybe like a EMT. Basically, people that have been working throughout the pandemic and stuff like that. And he was talking to them, and I think it was interesting how they were like standing, which maybe, may or may not have been 6 feet, take or give, but nobody had on masks and stuff like that. And then it's funny because, you'll have a Joe Biden and a Kamala right there together. Y'all are going to be together campaigning all the time, and both of y'all have on masks. So I just thought that was interesting, just seeing those different things, but I don't think anybody mentioned it. So maybe people are kind of moving past a little bit the just the vitriol. when it comes to the mask and things like that. Thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Edgar. Y'all, so I don't know if Edgar has a YouTube, but Edgar is on Instagram under Guns for Everyone. Guns for Everyone. He is doing some really, really great work out there in I'm almost sure it's Colorado. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive it's Colorado. He's doing some really great work out there with the 2A, okay? Trying to get, I know he works with everybody because it's Guns for Everyone, but he is very influential, particularly with Hispanic Americans and then those minority communities. And basically just helping beginners learn about firearms. And he is up in a big fight, I guess I could say that, with the sheriffs out there in Colorado who are basically trying to make it so much harder for beginners, for new gun owners. And so he is doing a lot of work out there. I appreciate what he is doing. I have been on a panel with him recently when I spoke at the Libertarian National Convention. We had that panel talking about, is the 2A really for everyone? And things like that. So that is, he's doing some important work. And a lot of times if what you're doing is not like nobody, and I'm going to talk about this tonight going into the Lebron thing, right? Everybody wants to show up for the cameras, for the cute stuff, for like the sexy guns and poses and don't tread on me, right? But when it actually comes to doing the work, when it actually comes to legislation, when it actually comes to policy in real time, now be like, people be nowhere to be found. So he is one of those people actually doing the work. So it's super important to support that. And I want to make sure I shout him out. And let me just make sure I told y'all. I know it's guns _for FOR _ everyone. So y'all definitely make sure you check him out. And he's super funny. He be having me tripping out. But all right, so going back to the NRC, so that was the one thing, me as somebody trying to get into A and be more influential and have people understand how important this is, especially in a time like COVID with the things we've seen and seeing that the government telling you they're gonna be there for you, but how has that worked out? Okay. And so trying to get into that, yes, I am going to be more concerned and have more feedback for how that is being projected to people and then giving solutions, right? Because yes, we still believe in protecting property. Yes, we still believe in protecting livelihood. Yes, we still believe in protecting innocent people. But you can still do that in a way where it translates. And you cannot deny that imagery works. You cannot deny the stronghold that the media has on people. So either you're going to let the media continue to run away with your narrative. I've said the same thing about Black Lives Matter. Either you're going to continue to the mainstream media run away with your narrative to combat it, right? Another reason that the RNC numbers may have been down, I noticed that some people were talking about like places like Fox News and some other places wasn't even showing it when it first came on. So I think that could have something to do with the ratings. Also in 2016, y'all have to remember the energy. It was just a lot of energy just around Trump and people, I think, not believing that he could have gotten that far in the election, and him having that standout policy, which was building the wall. So there was a big talk. People were really, really talking about that in 2016. Here we are 4 years later. I think you have some fencing up. I think you're looking at about maybe 1/4 of the original or the actual wall. You have a lot of private property that you have to have acquisition of that private property to complete some of these to complete some of the fencing and things like that. You're looking at, I've seen estimates that say about 30 million like per mile. So we're talking about something very expensive. And I don't care who the heck is doing it. I don't care who is doing it. We've seen time and time again where government tends to be needlessly wasteful, right? So you're just looking at something very expensive. And I haven't, the platform now seems to be, as a compared to 4 years ago, it was that standout policy, okay, the wall, illegal immigration. Now it seems to be, oh, I have to save y'all, or I have to save y'all from what's going on in like Portland, Seattle. And so I think it's kind of weird because I think a lot of this is going to come down to law and order. But when you really think about it, I think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are just as law and order. They're just better at, well, I don't even want to say better at disguising it because they're pretty honest now. I think you just have more people so desperate to get Trump out of office that they're actually willing to ignore the things that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are saying right out of their mouth. Is really weird. It's like all the people around them, all the like the news people, all of your blue checks will talk about how progressive they are, but then Joe Biden will literally go right on camera and say, yeah, let's up the police spending. You know, like very casually, like, man, I don't regret the crime bill. I did what I had to doggone do. So yeah, I think that has something to do with it well. And then another thing that I noticed just overall, and like I said, I've watched maybe like 3. So when the screen changes to like a different scene or different people, I'll probably say I watched maybe like 4 if I remember correctly. And the final thing I would say that kind of stuck out to me is that overall the message seemed to be a little bit more like rah rah rah, like excited, like upbeat, like let's make this happen type energy, as opposed to the DNC, which was like, you know, oh my God, the world is ending. It's all over. We have to get Trump in office if we want the world to survive. The world is on freaking fire. Slavery is coming back. You know, this type of vibe. And so I started thinking, right? I found that odd. I actually found that odd that would be their strategy. And it depends on how, well, I didn't find it odd, but I'll tell you more. So it depends on how you're looking at it, right? So some people may say, oh, well, you know, look at all the things that are happening. Like the world is ending. It is really bad. You know, this X amount of people have died from COVID and things like that, right? And then so I start to think back. I'm like, okay, but you had Obama that had the Ferguson riots, that had the Flint, Michigan water, that had the Occupy. Was it the with Occupy, y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? You had all these things. You had H1N1, all right? Then with George Bush, you had Katrina, you had 9/11, you had this and the other, blase, right? So I just started to think, and I'm like, but still, even when all that was happening, or before it happened, you still had Obama that came in with a message of hope and change, right? Hope and change, hope and change. He used those words a lot. And with hope and change, he was able to motivate and move so many people and inspire them to come out and vote, and hope and change was really going to happen. And I started to think about, if Biden is so in tune and aligned with Obama and wants to continue his legacy, why would they take a very different route when you're thinking about how they're trying to, gin up voters? And I thought about it, and I'm like, it has to be because Biden doesn't have a standout policy. That could be the only reason to this day, and I asked this question on Twitter. To this day, I still don't know what his standout policy is. When Obama was coming into office, you had Obama that was running on healthcare. All right. He had those people tell those stories about their families and, how healthcare could have helped them or saved them or things like that. And then Obama comes in and says, hope, change, we can all believe in, right? And then you have Trump comes in with his, we're gonna build this border, we're gonna help Americans keep their jobs, we're gonna make sure that we focus on actual Americans first, and then we want to make sure that people are doing immigration the right way. Oh yeah, that's what it was back in January. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Did we? No, we did not. Nah, y'all. But seriously. And so that's the only way that could make sense to me. They have nothing to run on but actual fear. That is crazy. And so whatever type of something that they're doing, I guess we'll know by November 5th. But I don't know who told them this strategy is going to work. This fear mongering, but I think a lot of people are over it. A lot of people are not falling for it anymore, okay? You have groups like ADOS that's like, no, we need an actual specific agenda. You have progressives that are like, we are tired of being lied to. How do you sit here and pick a freaking, I've seen them call Joe Biden a Republican light. So I still, when you think about it, if you don't have an actual standout something, what the heck are you actually going to do? What can really get people going? Hell, well, we can't think of anything. But one thing we've seen is that fear tends to get people going. It tends to get people moving. And so we'll see what happens. It may work for the boomers. But I think you have a lot of millennials that's over it. I think you have a lot of Gen Xers that's over it. So we'll see what happens November 5th. People are projecting that all of the chaos will die down after the elections. I don't think it will. Not immediately after. I think particularly not the riots. I think it depends on who wins, will be how badly they will continue. And then I also feel like you have a lot of Marxist, right? Because Black Lives Matter, you literally had one of the leaders that came out and said, yeah, like we're pretty much a Marxist organization. Like that's where we stand. They are saying this live. This is not a secret. It's on video, on recorded video. So I do feel like you do have people that are hiding in these movements. You have like Antifa, you have some Marxists, communists, things like that, that are just, you know, I don't even know. And you have a COVID that's going to exacerbate, right? You have a COVID that's going to exacerbate a lot of issues. I talked about this on Twitter today. I said I'm starting to think that the riots and COVID were both an orchestrated plan to destroy the inner cities and complete the wealth transfer. And so, like, I'm kind of like this on it. I think you have some people that have this certain political landscape in their head that they're trying to achieve, and they're going to use people's fears and frustrations to do that no matter what, no matter who they're hurting, the community they're hurting. I was reading today that the Black district in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I think, was recently burned down. Like, who do we think these things are affecting? Like, let's be real here. I posted a video on my Instagram today talking about, you know, when people are making certain moves that are not strategic and you're just doing that just straight out of anger and you're not thinking about the main things. This is like, people can say what they want to say, but this is still freaking America. And if you're not thinking about things like acquiring actual land, property, and then assets that create, you know, some level of wealth that's actually moving, like you're doing it wrong. And I don't care what Biden tells you. I don't care what Kamala Harris tells you. I don't care what Joe Biden tells you. These people are still capitalists. They are still capitalists. All right. I'm under the thought process that Bernie Sanders might have tapped out just to get another house. For you to be so revolutionary, you fold it real easy. That's all I'm saying. And to know you have enough support and enough energy behind you that you don't even like. I just, at some point, it's like, I'm not falling for it anymore. I just can't, because it's too many things that could be done that are not done. That's when it's not done, I start knowing it's intentional. When you know a person like Kamala Harris was getting so much backlash during the primaries, so much backlash, dropped out early, people constantly questioning her, and then you still force this lady on us, and not even so much force her, but so much so that we know for a fact, if Joe Biden was to get in that office, how long he's gonna last? I give him a year. So they are doing things very strategically. You are setting up this first Black woman, strong Black woman / Indian woman, all right, to be the next president. That's exactly what you're doing. You push Bernie out again. You push all these other up and coming candidates out. Like, I mean, you know, at some point we just got to be real here. This stuff is not by accident. Like, you know, so I just think there's this effort, even with what we seeing happening, where a lot of this is orchestrated, where we're talking about either these mayors or governors in action or overreaction, right? And then, so like I said, you have some of these people that are using this as a vehicle to create all of the chaos and things that they wanted to do anyway. And then you have some people with legitimate anger, frustration, and concerns. I would be pissed off. and I am pissed off, and I have been pissed off for all of the freaking small business owners, all right? These people who say, I am going to invest in these communities. I care about where I'm from. I'm going to send my kids to school with your kids. I live here. I am going to build something here. I want to build wealth to leave to my children. I want to invest in my community. All these different things. And you have this orchestrated effort to say, oh, no. Hold up 1 second. Walmart and Target is a little bit more essential than you right now. So we're going to have to let them do their thing and sit you to the side for a second. Don't tell me people can't be mad right now. Don't tell me people can't be frustrated. That is mind-blowing, nauseating, so unbelievable. I mean, people are mad, and rightfully so. And how that energy is going to be dispelled, is some of that frustration coming in some of these riots and lockdowns? I mean, possibly so. But you have a lot of people that are mad with the government right now for one reason or another. And until all people start to realize that the enemy is the state and government overreach, whether we are literally talking about, I don't give a crap if we're talking about mask mandates, if we're talking about police brutality, if we're talking about COVID lockdowns, all of this, every single part of it is a part of government overreach. Every single bit of it. That's the real problem here. But a bigger problem is you don't have enough people that know how to conceptualize that know how to verbalize it, and then that know how to come up with actual solutions to address it. So you got a lot of people just out here mad and directing their energy at the wrong people. Your beef is not with somebody sitting outside eating at a restaurant and you and your protesters walking up to them. That is not where your beef is. Your beef is at the state capitol. Your beef is at the freaking penitentiary, the corrections office. Your beef is at the police station. Your beef is at the politicians, with the politicians. So I just feel like you have a whole lot of misguided energy and anger right now. Brewster Boss Brooks said, I know entertainers aren't leaders, but Ice Cube just came out and called out Biden for no policy and hasn't earned his voice. So I do appreciate some of these entertainers, right? Like diversifying their talking points and going against the grain a little bit. I find it interesting, right? I find it interesting, and this happens, but when people were initially doing things like walk away, y'all know I did my walk away video. When people were initially like, yeah, you got to give us something for our vote, talking about tangibles, talking about an actual agenda, talking about we ain't just trying to hear what you're talking about, they got a lot of backlash. And I see as time goes on, people are getting more comfortable or making more room for people to say those things or whatever. So I haven't been paying like a lot of attention. Somebody comes out and talks about diversifying, making these people work, earn for your vote, and not saying, like, if it's just given to you, like, why am I, what is this for? So, kudos to him for that. Let me see what this is. Ice Cube, Diddy, and Charlamagne the God have large platforms, sadly, but may represent a real red pill movement in a portion of the community, sadly, but may represent a red pill movement in a portion of the Black community. The only thing, thank you, Bruce. The only thing, I'm kind of like, I've become so non-trusting now. And my only thing is, I just really hope they're not grifting. Diddy is a known grifter. Charlemagne, I really, really used to like Charlemagne when he was a little bit off the hinges. He would say what he want to say. People couldn't stop him. And some of the things I didn't agree with him, right? Like, I'm not agree with him. He says, type of person that I like to see and to know that people aren't being controlled. Somebody doesn't have their thumb on you. So if you're saying something that is not the typical, everyday, popular hashtag, we know you're going to say this because it's been said before, I'm a little bit more likely to be like, okay, all right. But then, I don't know if y'all remember, it was at one point where Charlemagne says something. I think it has something to do with transgender people, and he got a lot of backlash. And I don't know if y'all remember, but it seems like automatically, like right after that, I don't know, it's almost to some extent, and he still has those little bits and pieces of Charlemagne, don't get me wrong, but it's almost as if they like neuter people at a certain point. Like when you much backlash, it's like they caught him up and just do something that creates a different person or something in the media. Like their just whole energy is different. I look at Nick Cannon and he's going around on this freaking apology tour. Okay, you apologize. How much money and how many apologies to take? At some point, people, they're trying to make an example out of you. And that's the part I don't like. Like, if you choose to apologize, okay, cool. That's on you. But when it's like people are pulling you around a public square and like making a spectacle out of you, I don't care who it is. It's always been, if you're going to apologize, if you think that's the right thing to do, whatever, that's your choice, go for it. But when you are just constantly like, it's like, so, but hey, Cajun. But, so we'll see what happens going into the election. All right, y'all. So let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about your boy LeBron. Because he be out here saying stuff and he be getting people riled up. And I kind of had to give my thoughts a little bit about this. All right, let's start with talking about, and let's see if we're going to load here. All right, let's start with talking about the NBA ratings. We're going to read just, okay, it looks like my screen is sharing. Let's see. I think y'all can see my screen. Hey, True. All right, let me know if y'all can see my screen. I have this article up. Yeah, okay, y'all can see it. All right, so this is according to the Washington Times. Baseball is up, so is hockey. So what's behind the NBA ratings dip? Baseball and hockey viewership is up. The PGA's TV numbers are strong, and NASCAR races were the third and fourth most watched sporting events on the air last weekend. But as President Trump pointedly noted, this week the NBA is in a rating slump. As sports leagues stagger back to life after the global COVID-19 shutdown, athletes have made it clear to owners and fans their protests and calls for justice, from kneeling during the national anthem to speaking out on partisan political issues will be a part of the new norm. And no league has embraced activism more than the NBA, a league where players now support social justice messages on the back of their jerseys. The Black Lives Matter logo appears at center court, and stars like LeBron James and Chris Paul actively call out for racial justice. The volatile mix of politics and sports is turning viewers off, Mr. Trump said Tuesday. People are angry about it. They don't want it. They have enough politics with guys like me. That's for sure. They don't need more. The NBA is in trouble. I think it's in big trouble, bigger trouble than they understand. So this just goes on to talk about that. So I'm not like a huge sports person. What I will say is that I was super shocked to learn of this because people were freaking out. I don't know if y'all remember, but at the beginning of the lockdowns, people were freaking out because of the basically like not being able to access sports. Like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Bring the sports back, this and the other. And now you have sports back and the NBA's ratings are down. So Jupiter Black said, go woke, you'll be broke. Now, so I have a couple of different things that I think that might have to do with this. One is the season is different. So I'm thinking maybe the timings are different. They're probably not getting, according to some of the things I read, those primetime spots as they would before. So that's probably the biggest, one of the things. And then the other thing, basically, what Judah Black alluded to is the fact that you have them going on this social justice tour now, where all of their jerseys have all of these Black Lives Matter slogans. They have Black Lives Matter on the court and things like this. Now, you have a couple of things that this is going to be. So one of the things is that people used to actually use sports to escape things, right? Like it used to be a time where you could just watch sports and not have to think about political movements. And some people may say, oh, well, Black Lives Matter isn't a political movement. It isn't about politics. How can you say that when it's been proven that a lot of the money from the Black Lives Matter is being directly funneled straight to like the Democratic politicians, straight to, on the national level. So you have that. So you have the fact that some people are aware enough that they realize that they do not align with the national organization. You have some people that believe, like I've talked about, I'm not a freaking Marxist. I don't like how you have people using this. First of all, you have a lot of people eating off the deaths of unarmed Black men. Where is this money going? It's not going directly to the communities. They're not even supportive of people in the local organizations that are like, we're going to work with politicians across the aisle. We're going to focus on policy. We're going to focus on things that actually protect Black people, Black men in real time. Okay. You should have some people aware enough to know they're using this, that this organization has been co-opted. They're using this as a vehicle to other means. You recently have some of the leaders of the national organization saying, man, honestly, this wasn't even never about black men. It was really about queer people all along. But, we just use that to kind of just get our voice out there. For lack of better terms, that's exactly what these people have said on camera. They've said it. All right. And then you have rioting and looting that is going on right now, which some people, they're just not going to support that. They're not going to support that. They feel like Black Lives Matter is behind that. Okay. And people might think that's real cute now and whoop the whoop the whoop, do what you do. All right. But I have talked about how like, if your strategy is burning stuff down and painting Black Lives Matter on a street, and your strategy is not laser focused, if your strategy, people can't see that money coming back into their actual community, if they can't see that money going to political and legal education, going to actually bail out people, okay? If they can't see that money helping people in the criminal justice system in real time, like helping work to exonerate people that may be in there for crimes they didn't commit, this and the other. If people can't see that, and you are coming across the bridge, or even if you're not coming across the bridge, you're using this for a different means and then you have people in these communities that are now not able to access their medications, are not able to go to their job, now not able to travel as easily. And we've known and we've seen this happen, and this is what I alluded to earlier. All right. You come in there, you burn down a Black district in Kenosha, Wisconsin. People that always owe the insurance or handle it are people that have probably never had to handle insurance in their freaking life. People that say, oh, the insurance got it, they'll take care of me. They think it's that easy. These insurance companies, not only do they give you hell, but most times, all right, the bark is not worth the bite. You have so many people, and I've heard one business owner talking about this on camera, but sometimes they were already not doing well. Okay, we're talking about small business owners may have not already been doing well. You add that on top of COVID, and then even if you don't burn my building down, if you burn all the buildings down around me, and now your Target comes in, your Walmart comes in, your Nike comes in. This is a freaking revolving door of problems. It's a revolving door, especially when your main voices are talking about everything else. People, if you are the person that watches Elizabeth Warren during a speech at the Democratic National Convention, she has an opportunity to say anything, right? And just because she has blocks, children's blocks, BLM behind her in a corner, if you are enthralled by that, if you are moved by that, if that makes you cry a little bit, you're probably not going to understand anything I ever have to say. Unfortunately. Because if that's all it takes, and I hate when people say, oh, just hold their feet to the fire. We just gonna hold their feet to the fire. How long have some of these people been in office? Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi. You can't even get Joe Biden to lie in real time. He won't even pretend like he's going to do something about the police brutality issue. He doesn't even pretend like it. So please tell me, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it and make it make sense. If you cannot hold people's feet to the fire before they're even in office, how are you going to do it once they in? How, Sway? What leverage do you have if you don't even have it now? When you can exchange, you actually have leverage now because you can exchange your vote for something. You don't have leverage once a person gets in office unless you're a big dollar sponsor, unless you're lobbying. But just regular people, you think is gonna be your tweet? Your tweet gonna hit a little different or something. Like, I just can't. I'm just trying to follow the logic of it, man. I'm just trying to follow the logic of it. And so, yeah, when you have a lot of people that kind of know a little bit more about the national organization, the things they are the things they are representing, the way they are allowing themselves to be shown in the media, the way they've allowed the narrative to be hijacked, you're gonna have some people that's just like, and then you got your boy Lebron over here. Alright, so he over here reading Malcolm X. Let me get my screen share going. Your boy over here reading Malcolm X.
Taylor, you want to follow up? Yeah. So you're holding the autobiography of Malcolm X along with Alex Haley. I don't know how far you are into the book, but what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I kind of just started a couple days ago, but I've read a lot of notes over the years. It's my first time actually reading this from start to finish. Just a very smart man, very smart man, and basically. His words. What's going on? Exactly what's going on today. And powerful. Negro can be. You said it a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, unite. Come together. We understand strong. It's always possible. Throwing at us, dropping us. I feel things feel like kings and queens. It's gonna come from all different.
So LeBron is not reading the book. He's not reading the book. He has not studied up on Malcolm X at all. Now, I do think it's good that he is because, you know, whether people know it or not, that's going to bring a lot of attention to that book. You're going to have people that are either being introduced to this or rereading this to see what he's talking about. So I do think that's good. But now comes the question, okay, so what exactly are you trying to pander? Are you trying to say? And this is the same thing. This is the same thing I be saying about Black Lives Matter. All right? The same exact thing. You're talking about this book. You're highlighting the book. You're highlighting the issues, but you are not presenting any solutions. You are not talking about the actual principles that you actually want to see. And I'm not talking about in vague terms. Oh, why don't they love us, man? I think he said that on video. I was like LeBron, get real, okay? But you aren't talking about any of the actual principles that Malcolm X stood for. Any of the principles that he represented. Just like you have Lives Matter with this national organization, you are bringing attention, but you are talking about any of the principles in the real-time, very specific, laser-focused things that would add to the quality of life for Black people in real time. If LeBron knew anything about Malcolm X, he would know how Malcolm X oftentimes talked about entertainers in particular being puppets for politicians. You cannot tell me you are reading Malcolm X and you are finna go out here and campaign for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. You cannot tell me that. It's no way you can tell me that. If you were reading Malcolm X, you would say, you know what? I'm gonna have a conversation with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to make sure that we are going to address X, Y, and Z. You don't do that. You're just going to stump for them, no matter what. Doesn't even matter. Now, at no point, I actually do not believe that LeBron is some malicious person that's out here trying to trick people, or I just don't think that, okay? I think LeBron is a person that feels like I am in this position of power. People constantly asking me to do something, speak for them. So this is what I need to do. This is what I need to say. Malcolm X, Negroes love Malcolm X. I hold his book and be like, you know, Negro, he used that word a lot and he told us to be kings and queens. I just don't see at what point how a activist can be a activist if every single one of their solutions leads you back to a political party. That's not active. Actually, it's very passive. It's extremely passive. So what are you activating? What are you activating? Telling people to only vote is the actual most passive thing you can do as an activist. If LeBron James was to come out and talk about very specific policy instead of this feeling mumbo jumbo, oh my God, how you are making us feel. He came out on a video that I saw circulating today, came out talking about we scared. Black men are scared. Black women are scared. Black children are scared. You ain't been reading no Malcolm X. Like, you haven't been reading Malcolm X. Malcolm X wasn't no soft man. First of all, let's start there. Wasn't soft at all. Wasn't strategic. Very balanced. Talked about the ballot and the bullet. You're so scared, but you're not telling people to be armed? How scared are you really? How scared are you? How scared are you? You are stumping for the people that not only say they're going to defund the police, but also want to take your firearms. How can it be both? Pick a struggle. Pick a position and stay there. How scared are you really? So to one day to be talking about, you read on Malcolm X and he was telling us this and telling us that, and then the next day everybody's scared and you not even saying I would love to see LeBron James talking more about actual policy, how important, as somebody that has a beautiful Black family, right? Somebody that talks about how important it is, entrepreneurship, protecting yourself, right? Since we're so scared, we're scared. Protecting yourself and the history of that. The history of protecting yourself. I would love to see him talk about these things more. And, albeit it's not my decision what LeBron is going to talk about. He's free to talk about whatever he likes. But you have to understand at some point, you're going to get some criticism there when you are trying to be a voice. And we just don't know if you're coming or going, especially as this big, strong man that's getting on TV, just talking about you or reading Malcolm X. Now you're telling people we're scared. He used the word we. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And the idea that all this elusive feeling, let me just paint some words on a street, is going to, let's put this person's face on a magazine that we're going to sell, and we're going to pay the person that photographed it and did wardrobe, not photographed it, but did the digital artwork and things like this. At some point, people start to think that the revolution is being corporatized, and at some point, people are gonna just be like, well, can I take you serious? Malcolm X was very forthcoming about entertainers stumping for, cowering to, and bending over for particularly liberals. Very forthcoming and adamant about this. And to turn around and not even try, not even pretend to align with what you're saying you're getting into and upholding this person as this great person. Malcolm X was very forthcoming about taking it upon yourself, right? To not only defend your brothers and sisters, but to love your woman and your wife, and to defend yourself and your community, and to vote for something. For something. And then it also dawned on me that I'm starting to think you have a lot of these blue checks that to them, it doesn't matter either way. It doesn't matter either way. You will you're going to go the route that gives you the most, whatever that may be, favors. It may be favors, it may be money, it may be notoriety, because in essence, how much is your actual life being affected by this, right? When you're living in gated communities, when you have private security, you're a scared man with private security. And so, I feel like it's like that empathy thing. You can make people you can make people know that, you understand them, you care for them without trying to make yourself them, if that makes sense. It's certain experiences that I just don't have, I'll never have. And for me to see somebody going through something, and I just, if I could guess, I assume that a lot of people would want to be the type of LeBron James type scared. You know what I mean? If I could be scared with private security, sitting on tons and tons of acres with my family and my private shelf and my pool in the backyard behind my, gated property. If I got to pick a type of scared, that's the type of scared I like to go for. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, man, like, I just, you, at some point, if you're not talking about something and talking about something very specific, you're just talking. You're just talking. And to see how far we've come from the Kaepernick, right? To the Kaepernick originally kneeling, and what has transpired to now with the LeBron James kneeling. And then don't even get me started that everything y'all done, everything you've said and done has been approved by your organization. It's approved by your organization. So, like, let's just not sit here and act like, you're so rogue, or you're so different, or you're going against the grain, like a freaking Malcolm X. Like a freaking Malcolm X that was not super popular. During the civil rights movement. And I've said this, man. The people that they gonna put in front of you, in front of the TV. If you think the revolution is coming through a freaking TV, if you think LeBron James, out of all people, all these people putting a camera in front of this man's face, putting a mic in front of his mouth, if you actually think he's gonna say or doing anything to go against the grain, or anything that's actually going to empower you in real time, you are sadly mistaken. It doesn't look good for the endorsement deals. Malcolm X didn't have endorsement deals. He was actually people prefer Martin Luther King very much so as compared to Malcolm X. Very much. Because not only did Malcolm X talk about voting, like I said, he talked about the bullet. He talked about the personal responsibility, and how even thinking that you could trust the same exact people that put you into this position. And yes, I'm talking about you, Joe Biden, crime bill Joe Biden. Even having the gall to think that the same people that put you in this position, you're going to trust them to get you out, and thinking that makes sense and that's a winning strategy? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, in what universe does that make sense? And so, Martin, I don't even think was super popular during the civil rights movement, but he was way more palatable, right? The things he would say. And we know some of his later speeches did get a little bit more, did get they were a little different going into some of his later speeches, but some of those earlier speeches even now were way more palatable. And even now, right, they don't teach you about Malcolm X in the schools. They do not. He is, and in the public schools, he is not in the Black history curriculum. Okay, unless you have a teacher that kind of does their own thing or whatever, but they're not talking about him in the history books and this and the other. And that is for a very specific reason. It's for a very specific reason. And that's because people like LeBron James is going to be the type of people that keeps you in this repetitive circle, on this roller coaster, that not only keeps you behaving the same way you have, but moving, reacting the same way you have with no solutions. And that's why Malcolm X talked about this. That's why people will keep a mic in their faces. These are the people that's propped up, and these are the people that are like puppets, because they are going to back up the same exact agenda that we've always been given. It's no different. And so whether LeBron intends to be that, whether he's moving in good faith, heck, I don't know, because you ain't read the book. So I just think it's weird, man. I just think it's odd. It's a lot of odd things going on. And so his whole move with, having that book, and you sit in there and you're doing this for the cameras. We're not going to sit here and deny that. The cameras are on you. You're specifically talking about this. And so, how you just gonna bring light to that and not mention any of the actual real-time principles that this man talked about? You sit up here using words like Negro and king and queen, and ain't said nothing. So but to ever think that they are going to put somebody on the TV that actually stands for something or goes against any agenda or mainstream narrative in real time, it's false. Okay, it's very false. I think I've talked about it's rare to even just see that strong image, because two things the mainstream media loves: a dead black man and one in a dress. I said that on Twitter. Tweet went crazy, doing all kind of numbers, got all kind of feedback from that. Or one that's talking about they scared, like LeBron James, apparently. So you scared, so scared. But if people are out here scared, if you are that person and you are scared and you are going to be scared, I want you to be so scared that you want to get armed, not only with knowledge, right? Not only with knowledge, but you also want to be armed physically. Be that kind of scared. Don't be Twitter scared. Be this kind of scared that is like, all right, let me find ways to respond to my scariness. But as we're going into November 5th, y'all gonna see the Twitter blue checks. It's gonna get real crazy. I didn't do as much of a breakdown of the RNC as I did of the DNC, with kind of breaking down those different speakers, because like I told y'all, I mostly fell asleep on it. I talked a little bit about it at the beginning of this live. And so I'm going to try to watch probably not tonight. I'll catch maybe some highlights or something. But I'm going to try to watch tomorrow night, and maybe let's see if I could do more of a breakdown of that sometime this week. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for rocking with me every Tuesday. Thank you to my patrons. If you would like to become a member of my Patron, make sure you go ahead and click my Patreon link below. Help support my content. Thank you to my VIP patrons, Michael Ray and Ray Ray. Also, do not forget, I have the link below. You can get your entertainers are not leaders. How convenient. Good way to wrap this up. Get your entertainers are not leaders and your anti-status t-shirts. And just a reminder, you know, entertainers are not leaders is, I believe everybody has the freedom to say whatever the heck they want. I believe that, yes, LeBron James can absolutely 100% use his platform to say whatever he wants. Okay. However, when you are doing what's being done, what has been done, and you are going against everything you just said, everything you are going against everything you just said about this guy's book you were just reading, there's going to be criticism that comes with that, right? And then also we have to look at the fact of how much of a leader can you actually be, because a leader not only has to be open-minded, but a leader is supposed to be beholden to the people. That's a leader. A leader is beholden to the people, not the corporations, not the sponsorships. Because now, if you are beholden to your corporations, your sponsorships, like Nike, right? And we see what happened when Nike was like, don't talk about China. That's where the fence comes up. That's a little bit too far. Activism can't go that route. All right. So when you have people that are funding your activism, they get to pick your slogans that go on your jersey. They get to pick the slogan you write on the court. So how much activism is that when you are not even free? You are not moving freely to say and do what you want. It's not realistic to think that people that have sponsorships to that level can actually maneuver freely and be very honest. How honest can you be when what you say has to align with your donors? So, but all right, y'all. So we'll end on that note. Links are in the description box. Thank y'all for joining me. Have a good night.